What is up, friend? Today we are going to get right into it. We are working on vocals. I've made a lot of videos on this channel on vocals, and looking back on it, a lot of it kind of requires you to take all these different pieces and kind of add them together. And I wanted to create a preset for you that is kind of already set up with a really good master plugin chain, and that you can just follow the steps to get a super awesome vocal sound. And it'll help you really start to practice vocal mixing and vocal production, but also so you can see it visually and just follow it step by step. So how we're going to do this is I have an export of a rough bounce here, and what I did is I actually created a library preset. We're going to open up the smart controls here, and as you can see, there's nothing on this vocal currently. So in order to get this library preset, just click the link in the description. There's a video that shows you where to put this preset on your computer so that you can load it up as well. This also works in Logic Pro. So if you click on your vocal, we're going to go to the library preset panel, and then we're going to go to user patches, vocal presets right here, and then Lead Vox Master Chain. So I'm going to click that, and you can see over here, we have these plugins. So I'm going to get rid of this. And how I laid this out is I kind of laid it out in a way that I work in the recording studio. I have a bunch of analog gear that's already ready to go. I have plugins already ready to go, and it's set up in a way to where anytime I'm in the very beginning going to mix a vocal, I have some settings already there, but almost like in a way ready for me to manipulate as little as possible to get the sound that I want, right? So I'm just gonna run you through these really, really quick. And when you go and download these presets, there's also a button there where I give you a PDF to download a bunch of my favorite free plugins that I've kind of found along the way. So that's also on that link. The first thing that we have here is this Kotelnikov Mastering Compressor. This is a completely free plugin. This is basically going to give us a really, really nice and clean compression, the very first thing that we do, just to kind of level out the vocal, but not change the tone of the vocal at all. Then we have the Klanghelm DC1A3. This is kind of like an LA2A compressor. And as you can see, I have the relax setting set up, and this is going to be a very light compression. I know there's two compressors, but two compressors are better than one in this situation. Then we have a normal channel EQ. I have this high pass filter or low cut set kind of low, but it's kind of there just as a reminder. And then this is where we're going to do our cleanup. Then we have our de-esser. I have this set at a really good starting setting for the vocal. Then we move over to this slick EQ, and I have some frequencies that are already kind of set for different types of sounds that you want. Then I end with the exciter. Again, it's already set up. The harmonics are at 0, so it's just ready to go. It's in a really good spot for a vocal. And how this works is we're going to work down this chain and get this vocal to sound awesome, is kind of the point. So I'm going to play this song, this rough mix. This is the vocal just completely dry. You can see the thresholds all the way down, so this plugin's doing nothing. Let's listen to this real quick.
'Cause you got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid. Hold me close as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey, oh.
Kind of cool. Kind of a cool song. All right. So you can hear the vocal is really dry. It just sounds like it was recorded in a room it kind of sounds like a decent room. Might be like I don't know, it might be a bedroom. But nothing's happening. The rest of the song is close. It's kind of like a rough mix, and the vocal just needs some love, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use this compressor to really contain the vocal and not make it so dynamic. We want to kind of control it a little bit. Not crazy, but just enough so that we can really hear everything that this vocalist is doing, right? So I have the ratio set up. I've got the attack and the releases all set up. Everything is pretty much done. All you have to do is mess with this one knob, which is this threshold. What I'm looking for is we're going to play this vocal, and what I'm looking for is on the loudest points, we're wanting to bring down the vocal, but we don't really want the compressor working on the softer points, right? So we're trying to make it to where the softer points, the compressor, which is the gain reduction, is right here on this meter, isn't really doing anything. And then on those big loud points, we want it to kind of bring down the vocal a little bit. All right, let's see what we got here.
Is you got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid. Hold me close as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey, oh.
All right, sweet. So that's a really good spot. Let's listen to the beginning real quick just to make sure we're not going too far.
Is you got the love I crave.
Sweet. So that sounds great. That sounds really awesome. So we're good on this compressor. What you really don't want is this gain reduction to be working every single word. That's kind of what you're looking for. We're also listening to make sure it's not over compressing, anything like that. And it seems like it's in a pretty decent spot. So we're going to move on to the next compressor and we're going to turn it on. So it kind of works in a way to where you start off, this compressor's already on, you do your magic, then you move to the next one, you turn it on, you do your magic, and you slowly work down the line, right? So with this compressor, everything's pretty much ready. What we're looking for here is just to take a little bit more of the peaks off, and we're just wanting a little bit of compression around this, like -1, -2. This compressor does give you a little bit of almost like an analog tonal quality to it. So we're using it for a little bit of extra just compression off the top, but also for the tone of this, almost like an LA2A style of compressor. Let's see what we got here.
Is you got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid. Hold me close as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey.
So you can see it's kind of dancing a little bit right here on the -1, -2-ish. And because we are taking off those really big intense peaks, and then we're also just leveling out anything that's a little bit extra, now we can actually bring up the volume a little bit and we're not going to get any distortion or anything like that. So it's kind of cool because it makes the vocal a little bit bigger and more pronounced. Let's listen here to this kind of big section. I think it's right here. I'm going to turn it off and on so we can hear the difference.
Night hour, hey, oh.
Let's actually listen to it about here.
To the midnight hour, hey.
All right, and then we'll turn this on.
To the midnight hour, hey. Oh.
Sweet. That might be a little bit too loud, but overall we are controlling those really loud moments, and those soft moments are coming up and sounding more big and real, right? So it's starting to sound cool, sound cooler, sound mixed. Okay, so next, now that we have the vocal level under control, now we have the EQ. So this EQ we are going to be using as basically cleanup EQ. The biggest question I get all the time is, how do you EQ a vocal? How do you find what frequencies to bring up and down? And honestly, the simplest answer to this is that you have to train your ear. And the easiest way that I know how to do that is with QuizTones. QuizTones is the sponsor of this video. I'm so thankful that they are part of this channel because I've been using them for over 10 years now. And I honestly tell engineers all the time when they're asking me just questions on how to EQ, especially, to go grab QuizTones and practice. It's a super simple way to train your ear. You can get it on your phone, you can get it on your computer, you can get it on your iPad. It's really awesome. So if you want to train your ear and figure out how to EQ vocals in this way, then click the link in the description and go grab it. You won't regret it. All right, so first thing that we're going to do on this is we're going to adjust this cut here, this low cut, maybe bring it up a little bit.
Is you got
one kind of easy way to do this is you can turn on the analyzer.
Is you got
It'll work.
The love I crave.
Oh, it's because it's not on.
Give it all to me and don't be afraid.
So what we're not wanting to do here is adjust anything in the vocal. So we're around 75 hertz. There's not any low thumpiness, you know, in the vocal. So this is a really good spot for this to be. Now, what I'm hearing a little bit from the vocal is I'm hearing a little bit in these mids that's kind of peaking out, and then it's a little bit harsh here. So we'll start with this harshness and try and figure out what we're going to do with it. And how I start doing this is I like to kind of make this narrow and boost it up and try and find what I'm hearing, and then I'll try and keep it right there and bring it down a bit. So let's see what we got.
You got the love I crave.
That's pretty much it right there.
Give it all to me and don't be afraid.
All right, so that's kind of where I'm hearing it. We're gonna bring this back down, and I'm gonna slowly bring this down. And these EQs can kind of mess with you visually, the ones that are in Logic and the ones that are in GarageBand, because what you want to do naturally is like, oh, this is too harsh, right? So I want to bring this down. Well, if you're not paying attention, if you look at this gain here, it's minus 9 dB. I mean, it looks good. It looks like you're doing stuff, but it's so dramatic. 15 dB, that's a lot. So we want to be careful not to cut these or boost these way too much, right? Because they're pretty dramatic. Not a lot of EQs will give you straight off the bat minus 30 dB that you can visually see. That's quite a lot. So let's try to be careful and not ruin the vocal.
You got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid.
So that's in a much better spot. And I don't know if you heard whenever I really brought it down, it just kind of killed the life of the vocal. And then I brought it up to where I thought was a decent spot, and then it took out that harshness and didn't affect the vocal too much. So now let's try and find these mid thing that I'm hearing here.
You got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid.
It's right here.
Hold me close, as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey, you got the love I crave. Give it all to me.
All right, cool. That sounds like it's in a pretty decent spot. And overall, the vocal sounds nice. Let's listen to it with the music and make sure we're not like super far off here.
You got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid.
Awesome. Obviously, we don't have any effects. This is still dry, so this seems like it's in a really good spot so far. Okay, cool. So now we have the de-esser. So I'm going to turn this on. This 6.3-ish K, 6,300 hertz is a decent spot for vocals. We obviously want to make sure that we're not doing too much suppression. So let's listen, and we want to really pay attention to where the S's come in, and make sure that we're bringing those down quite a bit. Let's hear.
You got the love I crave. Give it all to me and don't be afraid. Hold me close, as you I shall.
Okay, this is a good spot to listen to. Let's turn this off.
Hold me close, as you I shall.
S's aren't that crazy, actually.
Hold me close, as you I shall.
Okay, so we might try just a little bit more.
Hold me close, as.
So we're trying to bring it, I like to bring it almost like a little bit too far, just past too far, because we're going to raise up some high end. So that's the next thing that we're going to do. So this is in a really good spot. I like it. Now we're going to bring up our TDR Voss Slick EQ. It's a very powerful EQ. It's got a bunch of awesome different types of sounds that you can go for. I like the American on the vocal, but we're going to turn this on. And we're going to bring up the high end. So on this plugin particularly, I like this kind of 10K range with the vocal. So it's already set up there and it's already a shelf. So all you have to do is kind of bring it up a little bit. So let's get a good sound. Let's hear.
Hold me close, as you I shall. Hold me close, as you I shall.
Listen with the band.
Hold me close, as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Now let's look at this 100 hertz here. Instead of a shelf, I have this as this kind of narrower band, and this adds a lot of warmth to the vocal. So we're gonna try and boost this up and see if we can get a good sound.
Hold me close, as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey, oh, hold me close, as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey.
Awesome, sweet. So I also have set up here around 2K. Sometimes in the mix, I want the vocals to just come out just a tiny, tiny bit, especially if there's a lot of guitars or it's a rock song. So it's kind of ready to go to kind of bring up, or sometimes bring down. It kind of depends on the vocal. But this vocal doesn't really need it. It's sort of like a R&B-ish song, and the vocals are coming through quite a bit. The only other thing with this plugin is there is another cut that's happening. I have it at 60 hertz. This is kind of just like a fail-safe. It's there, just another low-end cut in case you have a lot of rumbling that's happening, and your channel EQ here, it just isn't quite cutting it for you. Again, 2 is better than 1 sometimes. All right, and so the last thing is this exciter. So this is kind of the last step. We're gonna go to the beginning of the song. I wanna just listen to the vocal for a second, just mainly so that you can hear what all of this is doing. And we're gonna bring these harmonics up. I have them set again at about 10K. I think this exciter sounds good there. And we're just gonna give it a little bit of edge. You wanna be careful not to do too much on this. Sometimes it like sounds really good at first because our ears for some reason tend to really like exciters, and we can overdo it. So we want to be gentle and not go too crazy. So let's turn this on.
Is you got the love I crave? Give it all to me, and don't be afraid. Hold me close.
Okay, sweet. That actually sounds like it's in a good spot. Let's listen with the band here.
'Cause you got the love I crave. Give it all to me, and don't be afraid. Hold me close, as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey, oh.
All right, cool. Decided to bring the overheads up there. Okay, sweet. So it's not too much. It sounds really, really good, I think. Let's turn this off, all of this off, and I'm going to play just this first section right here and then turn them all on so you can hear kind of the A-B difference.
You got the love I crave. Give it all to me, and don't be afraid. You got the love I crave. Give it all to me, and don't be afraid.
All right, so we're going to do it one more time and listen to just this section. This is where you really hear it the most. Of course, we're getting some more volume, and that's due to our nice compression that we added. So we're going to go off and on one more time.
Give it all to me, and don't be afraid. Give it all to me, and don't be afraid.
All right, let's do it with the band. Off.
Give it all to me, and don't be afraid.
And on.
Give it all to me, and don't be afraid.
Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. It's awesome. And it's it's already there. You don't have to go looking through plugins. You don't have to think like, oh, should I put this here or that here? It's a really, really nice layout that makes it really simple to mix vocals. And when you get into the habit of kind of following these little steps and you have it so easy to just go through these, it just makes mixing easier and faster. And the coolest part is that if you are mixing your own vocals quite a lot and you find a sound that works and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, I love this sound. Well, you can save your own preset by just opening that up again, hit save, and then naming it awesomest vocal ever, you know? Sweet. So I really, really hope that helped you. I hope it helps you get a much better vocal sound and helps you kind of understand the signal flow and the processing chain when it comes to vocals. Of course, this is just one way of doing it. I tend to like to change things up all the time. I don't like to follow the same exact format for every single vocal, but this will at least get you started kind of thinking about like what you like, what you don't like. You could add your own plugins in the mix of this chain. You can change it up any way you like. Yeah, so go grab it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Quiz Tones, and I will see you next week, friend. Peace.